love to walk, and I love to be outside. Like every one of us, need exercise, and so if I can work all of those things into one and talk to people and see different beautiful parts of our state, I'm going to do that. So this was our fourth walk. We had a good crowd, even though it was pretty chilly out there. My mom and I did that all the time throughout my pregnancy with my first daughter and my mother's chemotherapy and brain cancer. We walked and walked every single day. We walked, and so it's kind of my thing, and I love to do it. So it was fun to do that before we got here for this event. But so I know Matt talked a little bit about my background, and for those of you who don't know me, I'll just tell you a little bit, but I'd like this to be more of a dialogue as opposed to a monologue. After 14 years in the Michigan legislature, the last 4 as the leader of the Democrats, all 14 of which were in the minority, unfortunately, I really, when I left the legislature, thought, I've done my public service, I'm going to resume a private life in the private sector. I'll always be a good progressive Democrat. I'll always support great candidates and support good Democrats. But I thought that I had done my public service. And so I went back and I was practicing law. I taught at the University of Michigan. I taught at Michigan State. See, I can even bridge that gap. I really found out about 3 months after leaving the legislature that I have about this much patience for poor management. I have about this much patience for politics as usual. I got so frustrated seeing where Michigan ranks on our education ratings, so angry seeing the Republicans pat themselves on the back and pretend like they had solved our infrastructure problems when we know darn well our roads are about the worst in the nation. And really it was the Flint water crisis that put me over the top. A failure of government at every level. A city in the Great Lakes state, home of 20% of the world's fresh water, that still, to this day, can't turn on their taps with any assurances that it's not going to harm their families and their loved ones. I was talking to a woman who lives in Flint, and she was telling me that come on in, there's plenty of room, come on in. That on Thanksgiving, to make one meal on one day after 3 years of this, it took her 58 bottles of water to make Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, think about that for a minute. We have a city full of people who really, for a lot of them, the one asset they have is their home. And now you couldn't sell that if you wanted to. It's illegal for some of them to sell it because of the lead content. Michigan used to be a leader. There was a time in our state's history that people moved to Michigan because you had job opportunities. You could make a good living, and raise your family, and retire with dignity and knowing that you could make it and your kids were going to be better off than you were. Michigan had the best public schools on the planet. Detroit Public Schools, the finest education around. Our infrastructure, you knew that it was going to be cutting edge because we were making cars and we wanted to make sure that our families were safe and you could move your goods throughout our state. And our environment, we protected our environment. We fought for it because we knew that we were literally defined by our water, as well as in our psyche here in Michigan. And when I think about all the metrics that really matter, we're lagging the nation on a lot of these. Our schools are the worst in this country. I know you all read the Detroit Free Press article a couple of weeks ago that talks about how Michigan is lagging. We can't even compete with our neighbors, much less the rest of the world. And I don't hang all of it on Betsy DeVos, but I hang a lot of it on the policies that she and her family have promoted. And I hang the fact that education in so many other states is not a partisan issue, but it is in Michigan because they made it one. Where has politics as usual gotten us? Dead last. And as a mom with 2 kids in the public schools, I am furious about what's happening to our schools. And I worry about losing a generation of kids, another generation in Michigan. We deserve better from our government. We deserve leaders who are going to be honest with us. We deserve leaders who are going to fight for us and never forget that they work for for the people of this state. It's not the other way around. Government's not about serving the people, the leaders. It's about making sure that it works for the people in this state. And I was raised here in Michigan. I spent my whole life in Michigan, and I love this state. And I'm proud to be from Michigan. We got a lot of reasons to be proud to be from Michigan. But you know, we deserve a heck of a lot better than what we're getting. And so that's why after the November 8th election, I dusted myself off. You know, after I shed my tears, and I thought, what can I do to be a part of making sure that Michigan doesn't go the same way that the federal government's going with Donald Trump. You know, the woman sent me a check about 2 days after the election for $20.18. A note saying, I hope you run for governor in 2018. And I, you know, people are behind the glass, you should come in. I know we can fit in. Come on in, really. We can squeeze in over here too. There's lots of room. But I really decided it's time to fight. It's time to fight back, and it's time to fight for the people of Michigan. And that's why on January 3rd, I filed my paperwork the first day the Secretary of State's office opened. And I am awfully glad I did. I know a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, another election already, and it's so early. I am really glad that I did, because there is an energy around our state. There is an appetite. People want to be a part of something positive. People are ready to fight to make sure that Michigan is an example for the rest of the country after we vote in 2018. That it is time for us to take back our state so that we can rebuild Michigan. And it starts with rebuilding the Democratic Party. You know, one of the reasons that I got into this so early, and one of the reasons that I am a full-time candidate for almost 2 years, and I tell you that because it's not a small sacrifice for my family that I'm foregoing a paycheck for 2 years. But I think that's what it's going to take to win. And I think that's